You are listening to the Serra High School Podcast, your connection to the scholars, the athletes, the men of faith, the men of humility, the Serra Padres. Hello, and welcome to the Serra High School Podcast. Today we're joined with our new Director of Alumni Relations, Logan Wolf, class of 2014. Thanks for being here, Logan.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you've been here since what, October? November, okay. And how's it been?
Feels like it's been like 2 years, but it's only been like 6 months.
Just because you've done so much or because it's so much fun?
A little bit of both, I think. So, no, but I'm really enjoying it and loving the relationships I'm building with the alumni and creating kind of a, online network for alumni to connect with one another, which is something I thought we kind of were missing. So glad to be kind of doing that. So
awesome. Well, why don't you take us a little bit farther back about your days at Serra, and then I want to I think that your perspective on needing a stronger connection for alums, young and generational. I think that you probably have your own experiences as a recent grad and kind of paving your own career path. So I'm really anxious to hear about that. But why don't you tell us about your days at Serra? I know you were quite the soccer player, and maybe tell us just about what it was to be a Padre for you.
Yeah, no, it was a great experience. I did 2 years of football. When I started playing football freshman year, my coaches found out I play soccer, so they stuck me at the kicker position.
I was just gonna say, were you the kicker? Obvious, right?
So,
and how'd you do?
It was all right, but I was more of a physical person when it came to playing any kind of sport. So kicker just wasn't really the position for me, although I did enjoy it. But after 2 years, it was soccer was my thing. Been playing since I can walk. I think there's pictures of my grandpa holding me up kicking a soccer ball when I was probably 1-2 years old. So
very cool.
Soccer is definitely my sport, and my dad just kind of said, hey, stick to your passion and what you love and what you're best at. So did 4 years of soccer here, 3 years on varsity.
Oh, very cool. And did you play club in the off season?
Oh yeah, yes, club, Modesto, all those places out in the on the kind of Central Valley, East Bay, doing all those tournaments out there. So
very cool.
But won a CCS championship in 2014, first ever soccer CCS championship here at Serra.
That's awesome.
So something definitely really proud of. So
very cool. And what else were you interested here aside from sports? What did you do here?
Honestly, that was about it.
Well, it sounds like if you're playing year round, that'll definitely take
exactly.
Up your
It was just all soccer all the time. And, when it wasn't soccer, it was, at home doing homework or, kicking it with some friends, playing video games or whatever the case may be. So
awesome. And as a recent grad, right? It's not been that long, 7-8 years, right? What do you think about, when you reflect on your time here, can you tell me just a little bit about your takeaways? Like, what do you use in your daily life that you feel like was fundamental to your education here?
Definitely the brotherhood kind of lifestyle. I think there's that kind of, bond that I have with certain individuals, where it's definitely a lot deeper than I think that you get at a co-ed institution. Mm-hmm. So I think that was kind of a big thing, and even in college, kind of going out there is all the guys, all the bros, that kind of stuff. We stick together. So there's that, and there's just kind of the core values of integrity, being a humanitarian kind of thing. So I actually did get a scholarship to De Anza College. I was that 2014 Sequoia Awards winner for community service.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So I did a lot of it was called Bags of Love. So we would go to the Seneca Hotel in San Francisco, California, and we'd deliver bag lunches to the kind of halfway, where they're kind of coming off whatever they were going through in life and kind of trying to get a job and trying to make it as a contributing member of society.
Very cool.
Pray with them.
Vulnerable,
Pray with them, give them bag lunches, whatever the case may be. Also volunteered. Was it three summers at the San Francisco Zoo as a docent on the nature trail. So again, that was something too that they were always very big on community service here. And that's something that I want to bring to the Alumni Association. whether it's doing it once every other month or, once a month, whatever the case may be. Just getting the alumni board or, volunteers from the alumni community to go out, like the Samaritan House, and just, dedicate a couple hours of your weekend to giving back to the community.
Many helping hands make a lighter load, so that would be a big impact. I know, as you were saying that, I remember you and I had this discussion at one point, and you really were very active as a young man, as a young child in community service. So when I get back to our, you only did athletics here, you were also very active with your church, and you were active with community service. And that's really awesome. And so tell me, so obviously you love nature, you were at the zoo, and you also went to University of Montana.
Montana State.
Excuse me. Wow.
No Grizzlies. No Grizzlies.
Sorry.
Only Bobcats here.
I should have just stuck with Montana. So tell us about Montana.
Yeah, so it was an interesting story. I went to De Anza College from Serra High School to play soccer. I got offers from California State University schools, but I really wanted to play at Pac-12, Oregon State, whatever the case may be. Out of state, I didn't want to stay in California. I want to kind of get a different experience elsewhere. Obviously, my dad being the dean of athletics at CSM, they didn't have soccer there, so I had to go to Cupertino to play for De Anza College. Love that coaching staff over there. But I took a environmental studies course at De Anza College, and my kind of final project was about the wolves in Yellowstone and how ecosystem dynamics work. How you take an apex predator out of an ecosystem, the whole thing kind of falls apart. So that kind of sparked my interest in Montana State University. And that's why I think, the junior college, community college is a really awesome option. I think it can be looked down upon this day and age, but, now it's free.
Right.
When I was going, you had to pay, but now it's free. The education is free at a community college. Books are free. I think they're giving out gas money now, actually, to kids to commute to community colleges. So you go there and you figure out what you want to do, and that's kind of what led me out to Montana State. I fell in love with the kind of criteria of environmental studies, liberal arts major. So went out there and, met a bunch of different people. I have friends scattered throughout the country.
Awesome.
Going to a wedding in Michigan for my first ever roommate at Montana State.
Really?
Yeah. So bachelor party in Nashville. So that should be pretty fun.
We'll have a podcast about that at some other time, right?
Yeah. But I got to do a lot of field research out in Yellowstone National Park, which is something that kind of I really wanted to do. So, it's just crazy whirlwind of events that kind of, went from, hey, I want to play Pac-12 soccer to, going out to the middle of nowhere.
It's great, though.
Enjoying the kind of change of pace, so to speak, from California, that's for sure.
Definitely. That's wonderful. And one should ask, you are a wolf yourself, Logan. So what drew you to study wolves initially? My last name being Wolf, that definitely has something to do with it. And actually the wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park in 1995, which was the year I was born. Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was just I just kind of felt that pull going out there, wolves, 95, and I was like, maybe it's my calling. So, but here I am back at Serra High School as the alumni director. Didn't see that one coming either.
Exactly, but it shows that you had a plan. There's a bigger plan.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, you graduated, then you went to you came back. Well, you lived in Montana for a little bit, right?
Yeah, about 5 years.
Okay, and then what brought you back to the Bay Area?
Just my family. I think family, and I had some friends out here that I kind of missed and wanted to reconnect with. And the job market out in Montana isn't the greatest. It's very competitive, especially in the field that I majored in.
Sure.
So I said, hey, I'm gonna come back to the Bay Area. There's a lot more opportunity out here. Go live with my parents for a little bit, as most kids do out of college in the Bay Area, just because it's so expensive. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I came back here. My grandparents mean a lot to me. So I wanted to be around them for however long that they have left. But I love being back in the Bay Area. Also missed all my sports teams.
Of course.
Sharks, Niners, A's fan actually. So
you're us for a loop there. No, great. And so you worked so what brought you back to Serra, though, was a job that you took 3 years ago or so?
2019.
With E-Team Sponsors. Why don't you tell us about that, and then because that kind of brought you back into the neighborhood,
yeah,
right?
No, it's just crazy how I ended up back here. So My dad being the dean of athletics at CSM, my mom being in sales, I came back and there was this opportunity at a company called E-Team Sponsor, which specializes in online crowdfunding, which Sarah's definitely benefited from, especially the football team. I think last year I was with them, I helped them raise over $100,000. Wow. So it's, quite amazing what this company does with institutions throughout the Bay Area and nationwide, actually. But yeah, I came back and my dad said, hey, there's this company that CSM works with called E-Team Sponsor. They're looking for a guy kind of in the Peninsula South Bay region. So, hey, go apply, see what happens. So I went and applied, and I got the job, especially with all of just the connections that I had out here in the sports world, specifically the kind of community college world, with my dad being in that kind of world. But a lot of the co-founders are De La Salle guys. So then cool. Kind of hearing, hey, there's a Serra guy coming on board. It's kind of that, again, that brotherhood that I was talking about, that sparked that relationship that I had with them. So, I started that job, got introduced to Mike, from my old coworker, Steve Jacoby. And, me and Mike developed a good relationship, and last year or the year before that, I can't even remember now. Mike said, hey, what do you think about, I have a cool opportunity coming up, I'll keep you in the loop. And I said, okay, let me know when you're ready to talk. And he said, what do you think about coming on board as Serra as the new alumni director? And I said, well, I never thought about it, but I guess I am now.
That's great. That's wonderful. We're talking about Mike Fideli, our Chief Advancement Officer, obviously, class of '88. So when you thought about becoming the alumni director, what were the things that you kind of thought about as you were mulling over whether or not you wanted to take it? Like, were you considering your relationships that you had, with the school as a recent college grad, or what were some of the things you thought of?
I think it was, in the position that I was with E-Team Sponsor, it was providing value and opportunity and fundraising kind of at the broader level, where I kind of wanted to hone in on more of a specific place that meant a lot to me. And Serra was just that, being able to come on board, do exactly what I was doing with E-Team Sponsor, building relationships, providing value through, fundraising or, whatever the case may be. I think that was kind of the draw to come back here, is just kind of focusing on, a specific community that I've been a part of for so long.
Well, and you certainly picked the right time, because the world really opened up once you came on board. I mean, you did an amazing alumni event for the state game down in Southern California, and then you've had your 50-year lunch. You've had, alumni baseball, alumni soccer. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the events and, how you develop them and how you feel that they're of benefit to the alumni community and the current Serra Padres here too.
Sure,
right?
Sure, yeah. No, definitely. That one in Mission Viejo, that was a party.
That was fun.
That was a good time. The result wasn't what we wanted, but I think it was an experience that everyone, really enjoyed. So, that was my first event coming on board. So that was huge.
I had what, 300?
It was a lot of people. It was a lot of people. People down south who were, Serra Padres, people traveling, parents, family, and friends. It was just a
pre-game social. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. The venue was super cool too. It was, I was 30 seconds away from the stadium.
That's great. It was really, really convenient.
right down the street. So that was really fun. I think one of my favorite events so far has been that 50-year club. I think just those older guys just have this certain connection to Serra that a lot of the guys these days maybe kind of lose along the way, which is definitely something I'm gonna keep from having happen. But these guys from the 50-year club, a lot of them graduated and they went straight to whether it was the military, workforce, or whatever the case may be. So I think that allegiance that they have to Serra is definitely, you can definitely see it, you can feel it in the library. When we're all kind of together. I think just that the love and the passion that they have for Serra, it was definitely the vibe, and it was the energy in there.
It was amazing. I had like almost 80 people, right? It's a big event for, just a luncheon, but it's something they look forward to every year. And their stories are amazing. So I can see why you like that one.
And for those of you who don't know, I did crack a joke saying that we were going co-ed, and some of them heard it and some of them didn't.
It was on April Fool's Day. You got to put that there.
That's true.
That was kind of important, but it was a good joke. You definitely had a lot of like, what?
You got
with Reardon, with Reardon's
exactly.
news, a few years back. Great. And so how do you hope to like bolster, the connections that alumni can kind of take advantage of in terms of, I know you've got a very big online presence in terms of your knowledge of social media and your hope to kind of connect people through that. Can you talk about that a little bit? Yeah,
no, definitely. I think the online world is definitely something I think was underutilized by Serra in the past. I mean, that's how a lot of kids these days are getting jobs, internships, and just staying connected with the communities, especially for those who can't afford to live here. They're graduating from college and either living with their parents or saying, it's too expensive, I got to go elsewhere. So the Alma-based platform that we use has definitely been an underutilized resource, I think. I mean, I came on and Mike said, have you ever heard of Alma-based? I said, what's Alma-based? So, I wasn't aware of it. I think I've posted a couple tutorials on our Padre Alumni Instagram. And some of the guys were like, whoa, I didn't even know this was a thing, and I think there's a lot of cool things on that platform that kids can benefit from, whether it's, connecting with certain alumni in certain fields, whether that be their degree, certain companies that are listed on Alma-Base. You can ping them, send them messages, or just, keep up with the news, the events that we have going on campus or our, areas. I mean, we're doing a kind of a pregame thing for the Folsom game up in Folsom before the
August 16th. Is that right?
26. Yeah. So, that'll be posted on Alma-Base. So it's definitely a really cool resource that I think these kind of younger generation, once we kind of get the word out, is going to definitely benefit them in the long run. But LinkedIn as well, I think that's definitely a really cool one. I think when I started, we had maybe 400 people on our LinkedIn page, but now it's almost 700 people. It's growing. I'm posting stories and kind of updates, and actually had Nick DeLuna, class of 2015, had a really cool idea. He said, hey, why don't we have alumni that we have as recruiters use LinkedIn as a source for them to post jobs and whatnot, so that these kids can kind of see opportunities through these different social platforms that we have. And a lot of the platforms, they target different demographics. So you have the alumni Facebook group, which is kind of the dads, kind
right.
of the older generation, but they definitely love that. They got the LinkedIn, which is more kind of the professional job searching, marketing roles. And then you have the Instagrams, which is kind of like my age and younger, who who love the kind of stuff that we're posting on there. So each platform definitely has its different sets of demographics that I'm trying to target. So
that's great. No, I know that you've been doing, even every day, I feel like you tell us a new story about something cool that someone's doing, and so it's not just about you telling the audience what's going on, but the audience telling you what's going on as well. I mean, the more knowledge that you have on what people are doing, the more connections you can help to help them achieve. So that's really cool that you're doing that.
Totally.
Awesome. So the senior class, you had an awesome breakfast.
That was really cool. I think it's definitely been that's definitely one of the things I really want to do, is kind of get my face, get my name out there to these kids, because I know Ryan Cuddy, who I graduated with here, he came up to me, and I've been doing some substitutions for classes. So I said, hey, I'd love to do more subs for classes, get my face out there so these kids know me. And he told me, he said, yeah, a lot of these kids come up to me and say, who's that tall blonde guy that's walking around? You got
to just start calling yourself Professor Logan Wolf, and then they'll automatically just have to give you that respect.
Yeah, Professor Lobo.
There you go.
But no, the senior breakfast was awesome. We did a raffle. I did a little virtual spin wheel. So they registered through Alma-Base, so that we kind of collect their non-Serra emails, because once they graduate from Serra, you know, they're never going to log back into those things again. And we want to make sure we can stay in touch with them, keep them updated, send them newsletters, whatever the case may be. So it's definitely a good way to get them, you know, into the Alma-based platform. So we did a little spin wheel, and they're all super, super pumped about that. I think it was fun. You know, give them a quick tutorial on Alma Base, so they can kind of see, you know, the resources that it can provide. So hopefully a couple of kids kind of, you know, were paying attention instead of, you know, shoving their faces with bacon and whatever else we had for breakfast.
Well, for anyone listening who is an alum that would like to join, you would just go to serrahs.com, hit the alumni tab, and it will immediately take you to the Alma-based portal where you can go ahead and sign up. Yep. That's great. And so, if you were to tell, like, if you were to tell alums anything, what would you say? I mean, about connecting with you, about just Serra in general right now?
Yeah, I mean, just stay connected. I think the Keep Us Posted tab is a really cool tab that you can, you know, submit a little thing saying, hey, you know, this is what I'm doing. This is where I am. You know, go Padres. So that gets pinged to my email, so I can kind of see what they're doing, what you guys are up to. You know, there's definitely been a lot of cool stories where I've, you know, reached out to these kids and said, you know, hey, if you ever need anything, you know, holler at me. You know, let me know.
No, and that's a great point, because the Keep Us Posted section, you know, we also utilize that when we write the Traditions magazine, which is our, you know, twice annual magazine that we really like to tell the stories of Padres and really take the time to invest the time to be able to tell the story, because so many Serra Padres are out there doing amazing things, and we want to hear about it and write about it and, you know, make them shine the way that they deserve. So it's really good.
Just for example, I think it might have been 2020. There was or 2021. I think the second one that you guys sent out, there was a I can't remember the alumni's name, but he's working for Ford right now. I connected with a younger alumni. I think he was class of 2020. And, you know, I said, hey, man, you know, I see you're doing some really cool things at Berkeley. He's working on solar powered, you know, cars at Berkeley, which is super cool. So I said, hey, if you ever need anything, you know, let me know. And so he said, hey, you know, I saw there's somebody working at Ford in the Traditions from that Keep Us Posted update.
News and notes section at the back, totally.
Right? So he said, you know, I'd love to, you know, maybe connect with them, kind of talk to them about the industry and how I can kind of get in. So I reached out to this alumni at Ford, and I said, hey, you know, do you mind if I share your contact information with this younger alumni who's kind of do some cool things at UC Berkeley? I said, absolutely, you know, because I think that's a lot of the guys understand that, you know, Padres helping Padres is what it's really all about. It's a tight-knit community, and we all love to kind of assist one another and help each other out. So, you know, I connected him with, you know, the guy at Ford, and he's working on getting him an internship now. So I think that's really what it's all about. So those Keep Us Posted, Keep Us Updated, updates really do help. You know, it may seem small and kind of like, oh, why am I doing this? But, you know, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, well, you can still stay connected from afar, right? I mean, we have people writing in from, you know, Europe and, I mean, different places, you know, around the globe, and that's really, really cool. So, awesome. Well, I thank you so much for your time today. It's so good to just hear, you know, I didn't ask you about the alumni board. Sorry, that was one more thing. I was like, what was the one more thing? The alumni board, you have a wonderful group of very devoted alums that help you kind of, you know, target and lead and calendar. Can you talk about that board for us for a little bit?
Yeah, the board's really awesome. You know, I think Klobuchar has been a great president for us on the board. We definitely, moving forward, want to make it a much more active board in terms of what we're doing. So whether it's, you know, providing internships for these kids, you know, doing volunteer work within the community, and just kind of, you know, it's all about kind of that multiplier mindset. You know, Mike and I both want to make sure that we don't want to be the sole leaders of this alumni board. We want to just sit down. You know, God gave us 2 eyes and or 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You know, so sometimes you just gotta, you know, ask a question, listen, and kind of, you know, a lot of these guys have really cool ideas that I think have been suppressed for a while. So we're definitely doing what we can to really hear these guys and kind of bring that multiplier mindset to this group of individuals who have a lot to offer in terms of ideas. So
definitely, we thank them for their time and dedication to Serra, right?
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to see what you do here. You've already done so many amazing things, and I can already see the connections you're making, and it's really, we have a lot of exciting things happening here at Serra. So I hope that people will tune in, because I think that we're continuing to just get better and better in many areas.
Yeah.
So, and one of the betterments is you, Logan. So we're so glad you're here. So on this podcast, we traditionally leave with a Go Padres. And since you had said it for 4 solid years of your life, you can say it again now.
Siempre adelante, go Padres.
Awesome. Thanks, Logan.